next annual session also will be a new normal. This is something which is being taught quite often. So I welcome all of you to this webinar today, which is themed on changing face of automotive aftermarket. Now, there's a very strange thing we would like to add. I think last time we discussed about it, that the aftermarket comprehensively, what does it mean? And we would like to call it, and which you can see on the PowerPoint, what is displayed here, which is changing face of automotive aftermarket in bracket whole life of vehicle retailing. It's very important that we start using this word. This is second time at ACMA platform we are using this word, and we'll keep using this word more often, because what we believe in, the moment a vehicle is out of the OEM premises, it actually lands up into aftermarket. So from that time till it is recycled, whatever happens to the vehicle, whether it is accessory, whether it is maintenance, repairs, services, all the logistics, services, all this pre-used cars, insurance, everything falls until it is finally recycled. Now, while we are giving such a comprehensive definition to aftermarket, of course, it needs this industry to be groomed well, and one point of contact end-to-end, and that is ACMA. At ACMA, with the aftermarket committee, what we are trying to do is we are trying to reshape this industry, and I'm very happy today to have with me in the room, in the digital room, I will say, we have esteemed panelists and people who I am privileged to be working with them on a regular basis. So all good, dear friend. Since this whole program is conceived from the Western region, we have Saurabh, and it's great, Saurabh, to put up this kind of show from the regional committee basis. ACMA actually has a very strong regional team, and this comes out of that regional team. We had the national seminar earlier from the South team. That happened in Chennai, but now it is being done digitally. So thanks a lot for taking initiative, Saurabh. This is really helping the whole committee and the pillar. Then you can clearly see here all our friends of aftermarket, Kaushik Madhavan. Hi Kaushik, welcome.
Thank you very much,
today. Yeah. So we will have the perspective from Kaushik. We will have a very interactive session, guys. So let's keep as open yourself, as much interactive, and whatever question you get, let's put in Q&A. All the social chat you can put in the chat, and whatever you see is important question, because then we can filter it out. All of us are looking at Q&A. Then we have Vikrant from the workshop community. I think Vikrant is seen all the time supporting the aftermarket initiative on the workshop, and I don't know, IVA has done how many conferences, many conferences where they have tried to put all the stakeholders together. So thanks for that effort, Vikrant, and welcome on this platform. We have Manish, yeah, please. We have Manish Gupta ji, and you can see Jagdamba Auto Agency's logo also quite clearly. Thank you. This also shows, Manish ji, that we have really come a long way. You have a marketeer and the manufacturer called Hela. You have Bodomo as a sales channel, and you have Jagdamba as our distribution house, all at parity. This is called partnership of equals. And welcome, Manishji, to this community. And as we have been discussing, that ACMA is not only about manufacturing. ACMA is also about taking the parts to where it is needed. And you all are part of this chain. And ACMA is going to do more and more outreach to the channel. I'm sure in the audience we'll have many channel partners today. And this goes to all the channel partners, that ACMA is not only about manufacturing and a manufacturing ecosystem, it is about after manufacturing, we have to reach it to customers. So end to end. So welcome, Manish, as a representative from the distribution and the channel side.
Thank you, Ramesh.
Yeah, hi. As the landscape is changing for aftermarket, today I'm also privileged to have Alexander here representing Bodomo. And this is also something which I really feel what we have been talking around a year back or 2 years back is actually getting manifested. We can see it clearly here. So all the discussions what's going to happen today will be very grounded. Things which is happening. These are all practitioners. We don't have, including Kaushik. Kaushik may be belonging to a consultancy firm, but I'm sure that his talk all the time is more about what's happening on the ground. And that's why, Kaushik, you are very popular, because you actually take every consideration, everything what we have been doing all the day, right? So friends, we have first time with us the partner from insurance side, and this is really for me a good beginning from Tata AIG, Saurav Maini. Saurav ji, can you open your video? Maybe people
Good,
can see you once. Yeah. So welcome,
good evening, everyone.
Hello, welcome.
Yeah. So you see how happy everybody is, Saurav, because you are an integral part of our ecosystem. And as we said, whether it is on the road safety aspect or whether it is on the repair and service aspect, that how we can make this more affordable for consumer. Finally, we all are belonging to one industry and we give our offer to consumer. And the consumer gets more choices, consumer gets it economical. This is where we will win. And at least this is my responsibility, that we should develop the market in such a way that consumer gets more choices and consumer is able to have an economical, affordable service. If this country can have a reduction in insurance premium, it will be great. It will be a great objective to begin with. And Saurav, great to have you. You are our connect, and we are looking forward to have more and more conversation like this, the way you have taken initiative. Thank you so much.
Very, very happy. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think this is the line of speakers today. What we will have. My take will be, I'll just take 2 minutes to inform everyone that we are consistently going in the direction what we have been always talking, which is organizing the aftermarket, standardizing the aftermarket, and digitizing the aftermarket. So we will continue to do that. Anyone has any idea, please come forward. Please consult ACMA. Please directly get in touch with me. We all are digitally available on LinkedIn, on Facebook, wherever you want to see. The idea is come together in shortest communication and then make an impact in organizing the aftermarket. Otherwise, there's a huge number of people who will be out of job, because aftermarket has the distinction to give jobs to so many people. We have mechanics, we have technicians, we have dealers, we have distributors, and they only can be protected if we at the leadership level take that responsibility, that we take care of them. And in that, a biggest part, and I've been always, and we will take this in panel discussion also, whether it is Mr. Vikrant or Manish, we are talking about how can we standardize our garages, our technicians, right? Because when we standardize them, the parts and the services, then we have the level playing field. One place we have the OES, one place we have the independent aftermarket. And if independent aftermarket has to take its rightful place and the industry needs to be respected, the only way is to organize ourselves, to make ourselves professional. And this we can do it. Even today, I'm looking at some action point rather than only discussion. So whatever will be the end of today's discussion, personally, I am committing myself to that responsibility that we will take those things to action, right? So whether it is catalog, whether it is about new standard coming from the government side, whether it is about outreach to insurance companies to let our independent garages come up and then they take the cashless facility with them, get the training for the technician from ASDC. There are many initiatives we have taken, and I will not go in detail. You all know about it. When you have a specific question, I will definitely answer that. But it's better we listen to all these speakers so that we can have a diversified opinion. At this point of time, I will also like to welcome all of you for the digital annual session this time of ACMA. I must announce that this time we are having the topic called Shaping the New Normal. This is the ACMA annual session, which will happen on Saturday, 5th of September, as it happens with SIAM doing it on one day and ACMA doing another day. So this time also it will happen, but it will happen digitally on a virtual platform. We will have our eminent government functionaries and our ministers, especially Sri Nitin Gadkari, Union Minister of Road Transport and Highways, and also for MSMEs, very crucial ministry for us. Sri Piyush Goyalji, Union Minister for Commerce and Industry and Railways, and Sri Prakash Javadkarji, who is the Union Minister for Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises. He is also Minister for Forest and Climate Change, Minister of Information and Broadcasting. So we will have a power pack panels also coming up. In this, we will definitely see a lot of discussion of the new era, which is the COVID era or post-COVID era. I don't know whether the new normal is different or is the same. Have we come, one thing is sure, I was talking to panelists and we come to know that the fear of corona is no more influencing our decisions. We are still taking precautions. We are still taking care that we are all safe, but our business decisions are not out of fear anymore. Seems to be like this, which is a good thing to happen going forward. And with that note, I am very happy now to bring the first speaker, Let's have Kosik. You are there, right? I saw you. So
Very
Kosik,
much, very much. Yes. Niladri, can I have permission to share the screen, please?
we can remove this panel discussion background
Yes, that will be helpful.
so that we can see each other.
Niladri, are you there? You'll need to disable your screen sharing or Acma
Stop
screen
sharing
sharing.
the screen and then it will happen.
We have done it.
Yes, perfect, perfect. Let me share my screen now. There you go. Perfect. I know you're seeing a blank screen, so I just want to keep it that way so that I can talk about it. Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah.
The white screen? Perfect. Excellent. So I think Ramashankar set the context beautifully. I think today we are talking about digital connectivity in many ways. And if you talk to somebody on the road or the layperson on the road, there is always a question, right? Digital connectivity and aftermarket, how will that go? How will that be? How is that going to happen? I think today it is our responsibility to, number one, educate the customers, introduce them to what the opportunities are and drive by example. I think this is something that Ramashankar does in a very, very effective way. He sets examples, he sets the benchmark, whether it is digitization, whether it is safety drives, or whatever it may be. He leads from the front, and that is what we need to do. And to do that, we all need to come together, and it's great opportunity today, thanks to ACMA, that we have a variety of stakeholders, not only me from a research and consulting background. We've got component manufacturer in the form of Ramashankar. Then we've got insurance, spare parts, marketplace people. So I think it's a great opportunity to build that ecosystem, and that is what I'm going to talk about today. So when we talk about whole life retailing, right, there are multiple angles to it. So let me spend a couple of minutes talking about various angles. First thing is vehicle buying experience is going digital, right? Whether we like it or not, today customers spend a lot of time analyzing vehicles online, looking at options, models, personalization. And take the example of Hyundai in India, where you can actually buy the vehicle online, right? So today Hyundai is the first OEM in India, car OEM in India, where you can actually buy a car online, right? Not just looking at models and choosing your variants and so on. You can actually make a purchase online. That means you can personalize it. You can choose your finance options. You can choose your insurance options. You can make the payment as well. The vehicle will get delivered to you. So it is very important that we bring all the stakeholders here, right? Insurance, financing, dealerships, and everybody on a digital platform. Very, very important. The second one is consolidation. Today we've got Jagdamba Motors. We've got many such large distributors and large retailers today in India who are looking to consolidate. So what does that mean? Due to the COVID-19 pandemic situation, unfortunately, a lot of the smaller independent standalone retailers and distributors in upcountry markets in rural India or tier 2, tier 3 towns are still struggling to stay afloat because of the financial situation, right? Everybody talks about post-COVID. I think we are still in COVID. I think we are still a small distance away from post-COVID. We haven't got to post-COVID yet. Hopefully, we will get there as soon as possible. But consolidation, again, plays a very, very important role. Two advantages. One, it helps the smaller retailers stay alive, stay afloat, and it helps the larger players get access to areas or communities or cities where they probably did not have access to. So business sense, it's a win-win situation for both. Now, the third point is on-demand services, right? This is a huge opportunity in India. Today, we are talking about, obviously, through shared mobility, through the Olas and Ubers, we already have on-demand mobility, right? Now, that is translating into, or rather expanding into on-demand services, right? Why can't we have a garage service or any service for that matter on demand? I'll take an example. I've put the logo of the company as well. It's in Chennai. There's a company called Touch Up People, right? as the name suggests, Touch Up People is a paint service organization, right? They do not have a physical showroom. All they do is they've got two Tata Aces converted, right? And those two Aces just keep traveling all over Chennai city, right? So whenever there is a demand, whenever there is a request from a customer to maybe touch up a part of a bumper or a door or any part of the vehicle that needs a little bit of repainting, they come to your doorstep. They carry out the entire activity at your doorstep, right? So the advantage there is you have no fixed assets, you have no overheads because you don't have a physical shop. So the entire thing is on the road, entire thing is on demand. So you are asset light, right? Number one, and you have the flexibility to cater to different customers as and when the customer need arises. So on demand services are going to become very, very important for a country like India, where there is such a diverse set of customers, and you don't have to sink money by having a physical brick and mortar service, right? You can have on demand services on the go. Now, the fourth point is new aftermarket opportunities. I'm going to talk about this in the next slide as well, talking about marketplaces, right? Spare part marketplaces and how they are driving the new opportunities in aftermarket in India. And for example, sanitization and hygiene opportunities because of the COVID-19 pandemic has seen a huge growth. Today, Tata Motors has partnered with Blaupunkt in the aftermarket to offer ozonizers, ionizers, and air purification devices for cars, right? Great opportunity to partner. Not yet, some of the OEMs are going to offer these as OE products as well, but in order to tap into the aftermarket, the best opportunity is to partner with somebody like Blaupunkt, for example. Now, last but not the least, ADAS generated, related services as well. So, advanced driver assistance systems is also coming into the aftermarket. I mean, 5 years ago, who would have thought whenever we spoke about advanced driver assistance systems, it was always an OE-driven market. Not anymore. Today, Mobileye, for example, has partnered with Rev in India. Rev is a car rental service provider in India. So they have partnered with Mobileye to offer driver assistance services within the vehicles. It's an aftermarket system, right? So you have lane change assist, forward collision warning assist, emergency braking assist, all in the aftermarket services. So hugely opportunistic growth here. But the bottom line is all these are going to be connected in a seamless manner through digitization. So that is going to be the underlying factor when we talk about connectivity. Now, when we talk about vehicle retail, what are we looking at? How are the KPIs going to change? The first one, contactless delivery, right? The Western world has already experimented this with it, and India too is already catching up. So that means you can order a part online, it will get delivered into your doorstep or maybe delivered to your nearest service center where you can drive your vehicle and get it fitted. So it's completely contactless. Even if you go to a spare part shop and order a part, you can have it delivered. So contactless delivery of parts and services, again, is going to be very important in India when we talk about social distancing. There is a fear of infection. There is a fear of sanitization. So contactless delivery is a huge opportunity in the Indian market. Number two, online marketplace. Today we've got Alexander from Budmo. Great example of how an online marketplace for booking parts and services. Please keep in mind, it is not just for parts. You can book services also in an online marketplace. In fact, I have the Budmo app on my phone. Over the past 5-6 months, I have ordered parts 4 or 5 times from Budmo and have it delivered to my doorstep, right? Just 2 weeks ago, I had a part delivered to my doorstep. So I took it to my friend's garage, have it installed there. So for me, I didn't even touch the part. It came in a box. I took the entire box to the garage and have it dismantled there and installed. Great opportunity for contactless delivery and online marketplace as well. Third point is the demand for hygiene car care, right? We are talking about air purifier products coming into the market, ozonizers and ionizers. These are going to become a standard, right? I don't know, last year nobody spoke about ozonizers and ionizers, right? But today it's going to become standard equipment in every vehicle. It's going to be the need of the hour, And aftermarket has a huge opportunity to capture a large share of the market, because the vehicle park in India is significant, right? No, not only are we looking at the OE side of things, but for the aftermarket as well. And last but not the least, digital KPIs, right? This is new. I mean, whenever we talk about KPIs, right, or key performance indicators for a garage, for example, what is a typical KPI? How many vehicles are you able to service it in a month? What is the average revenue you are generating per vehicle serviced, right? What is your monthly revenue, quarterly revenue, annual revenue, right? These are your typical KPIs. For a distributor or a retailer, it's about what value of parts did you sell, right? Divided by different types of parts, you arrive at a overall dollar value or a rupee value. But going forward, it's going to be digital KPIs, right? What share of social media are you able to influence, right? What part of your part sales is online? What is the revenue generated by e-commerce, right? So these are going to be the new KPIs for performance enhancement. The objective is the same, whether it is traditional model or the digital model. The final objective is still the same: improving revenue, improving business, improving productivity, improving performance. Just the way we are going to do it is going to change. It's going to be a digital KPI, right? So I'm going to stop. I just wanted to end with one picture. Just before we started this webinar, we were talking amongst ourselves, Vikrant, Ramashankar, and everything. How will we ensure social distancing in garages, right? So this is an example. This is an example in Chennai. This is my friend's garage to whom I took my vehicle last week for a small repair. And the people working in the garage were wearing masks, right? And that's a great example, right? Today, we need to ensure that we as responsible citizens should take care of our own safety, our hygiene, and that of the people around us. So who knows, maybe mechanics, we won't call them mechanics anymore because they are already wearing surgical masks. They may become automobile doctors working or operating on vehicles, right? But the bottom line I wanted to end with is, this is ground reality, right? We need to ensure that people on the ground, mechanics, need to take those steps to ensure hygiene is maintained. And who is going to do that? We as educated people, we need to take the initiative. We need to lead from the front by telling them, hey, you need to wear these masks, right? Whether you like it or not, it is for the benefit of everybody. So that messaging is very, very important, and we are all responsible to take that message to the ground, to the grassroots level, to the ground reality where everybody is on the level playing field. So with that, I'm going to stop. Back to you, Ramashankar.
Fantastic, Kaushik. So nice. Nadri, we can remove the screen. You can stop sharing. Yeah. So thanks a lot, Kaushik. It just reminded me, Kaushik, you were there when I think in the month of May, when we had lockdown, we had a first webinar.
Yeah.
And I was showing a picture of a garage in China, a workshop in China with somebody putting the mask and working. This is called collective wisdom. We have seen it somewhere. It was definitely going to come to our country. We are on a different timeline. So they did it earlier and now we are doing it. Similar to what China was doing. And this is it's called pandemic, right? It is something which is around the world happening.
Yeah.
And I used a sentence, Kaushik, you remember, I said, as long as the collective wisdom of the world travel faster than the virus, we are safe.
Absolutely. I hope that is true. I hope that is true.
Yeah, so we are quite safe that way but the problem with the wisdom, Kaushik, is when you have a crisis like flood or earthquake, you can drop the food packet from a helicopter and people can be saved. But wisdom or brains, you cannot drop. So
Yeah.
So it depends on the citizens' leadership. It depends on their own, these are something which is voluntary. You can accept this wisdom, you cannot accept this wisdom. Same thing is applied to our business also. The aftermarket has to be organized. Whatever I try my level best, ACMA try, all of us here panel try, but if the retailers, if the mechanic, if the garage, if the distributors, if they don't take a different mindset, and if they don't get that wisdom, nothing is going to happen.
Absolutely.
We can continue to have webinars because these things has to happen on road, on the ground reality. and we can make it very easy for them. But my appeal will be that whatever you pick up from these knowledge session needs to be executed or implemented. And for that, I'm very happy that this is like last time we had Mr. Guru. You remember, Kaushik, na?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
This is very normal now. We'll always have a channel partner with us. And this time we have Mr. Manish Gupta, who is the managing director of Jagdamba Group of Companies, one of the sponsors also today. One of the leading aftermarket spare parts distributor for all segment, two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, and six-wheeler. Started his career in industry in 1987, exactly 10 years before me, Manishji. So 97, I joined industry. Yeah, I was maybe 19 years at that time. With very minimal capital you started, right? And you really grown to one of the largest distribution house in the country. Extensive network spread across 6 locations, mainly in Tamil Nadu, Tiruchirappalli, Tirunelveli, and 4 locations in Kerala. In Kerala, you have Ernakulam, Kozhikode. So you're actually in those 2 states, you're everywhere. So he will basically share with us today the ground reality, and my request will be that this is a two-way communication. Huh? So I think you should also talk to the distributor fraternity, Manishji, that the system has to be carried by them. Otherwise, this whole partnership of equals will not exist. All the best.
So please allow me to share the screen.
Yeah.
Is it visible now?
Yes, we can see clearly.
Yeah. Now, Ramashankar ji had already introduced my profile, but again, I'll introduce myself. Myself, Manish Gupta. And first of all, let me thank ACMA for giving me an opportunity to speak about aftermarket, because last 32 years, I'm in aftermarket industry only, selling spare parts, which I love the most. So there's a small introduction of myself. We started our business in 1987 with a very minimal capital. Myself and my brother started this business soon after our graduation. We thought what to do next, because we had very minimal capital, and there was our family doesn't have that kind of capital to start something, or you can say that I was not very good in studies also to go to go for some good job. So we started this business, but thanks to the God, thanks to the Almighty, that we could able to come to this point where today we are a 500 crore company, where our turnover is close to 500 crore. And these are the companies where we deal in different products. We are into two-wheelers, as said, three-wheeler, 4, 6. Everywhere we are present. And Kerala, we are into Bajaj Auto, TVS, Royal Enfield, Honda. Similarly, we are having in Tamil Nadu, Tata Motors, TVS, Bajaj Auto. The slide shows that these are the product ranges, and in other parts, we deal in a lot of vendor parts. So this is the total product what we deal in. Actually, we are at the lowest part of the India. If you see that, we deal only in Kerala and Tamil Nadu. So I don't think so. Other than my principles, other people know about other distributors or other part of the country's distributors or dealers know about me very well. But this platform will definitely give me an opportunity and to showcase myself and the systems what I follow and my thought process. So I'll be going to speak about overall view of automotive market after distributors operations, then our COVID challenges aftermarket planning, distribution, challenges and opportunity in developing an online platform. Distributors operation overview. Now we are the distributors who bridge between the manufacturers to retailers and end consumers. Actually, we work for, we make sure that the parts are reaching to the consumers. So we are bridging this whole system. And if we work hard, if we are not, this chain is, because to entire the supply chain, this chain is also very important. And ACMA is recognizing this chain, and they are understanding the entire supply chain value, which I had shown on the bottom of my screen, how the parts move once it is manufactured. So from my personal experience also, this automobile aftermarket business is one of the best vertical ever I had come across, because I had never thought of going into any other business. where in aftermarket, the ROI is covered within 5 to 6 years, 7 years maximum. And hardly, if you work smart, this business will never give you loss. You have to act very smartly. And this business is always green, live. And as long as the vehicles are on the road, your business will flourish. But the problem in after all these 32 years, what I'd seen is that in this after automobile industry is yet not organized secondarily in the secondary sales. If you look at the primary sales, all the companies had moved a lot. Like I'd seen the companies growing like from scratches to big organized companies becoming very big vendors for the OEMs in the last 32 years. But the aftermarket distributors or traders had not moved, or they had not organized themselves according to the need of the market. So it is my personal opinion that around 60 to 70% of the distributors still operate like traders in our country. They don't operate like distributors. So they don't understand the technology. They don't want to invest in infrastructure, warehousing. This is very important nowadays. If you look at it, it is very important for us to invest in technology. It is not an expense. If I see that most of the distributors or retailers or dealers, they invest in technology looking at its expense part, but they don't see the result or the ROI, what they get, return in investment, what they get after a couple of years. And infrastructure also. We see that in most of the Delhi or most of the crowded places, people are still working in that same Kashmiri Gate or Karol Bagh market, where people doesn't want to move from that market to a bigger area, bigger infrastructure, warehousing. If they're not going to do that, then it is going to be a problem for them in future. What is my observation is that they have to move from that places, crowded places. They have to go to a big warehouses. They should have a structured warehouses, structured business. It should not be a one-man show business if they want to grow in automobile market, aftermarket. So in that cases, again, there are geographies may differ from one place to other place. If you see Delhi or Bombay or Chennai, big markets where people have restrictions to move from the market. So always they have a second chance, they have second opinion. In my opinion, they should keep one of their customer contact point in the market, and they should move forward to a bigger place from where they can really service the customers in time. At the end of the day, this whole operations we are doing to see that how we can improve the business, how we can bring technology, how we can give better service to the consumers. For us, the consumer, we have all this practice, all this webinar we are doing to see that what the best we can deliver to the market. And in that, what all the changes we have to adopt for this. And this changing business practices, all this thing has to be, you have to capitalize the, if you're not doing the, if you're not changing yourself, definitely your business will be taken away from you. Some other new players will come into this business. Well, there'll be unknown players. There may be people who are eyeing next 10 years, you can see the market is going to grow. Even we are talking about battery business or e-vehicles, but there are no such route maps where e-vehicles are going to take away our conventional business. No, it is still going to, another 10 years, I'm pretty sure that our business is going to grow at the rate of 13-14%, what it's growing throughout the year. So our next, in this total, if you see that our business in automobile aftermarket business, why I'd seen that a lot of new generations are not coming into this business. That's one of the biggest problem what we see, because they are not being given a proper, because the new generation doesn't want a purchase business. If you see, then still our automobile distribution houses, or there are no big automobile distribution houses. People work like trader. They still work like, in Delhi and Bombay, they work on purchase, small slips, This new generation doesn't want to do this business. They want to get into more organized business. So that is also one problem. We can see that in last so many years, how many new business houses or how many new entrants are there in this industry? Very few. You cannot find much of the entrants in this industry in aftermarket spare parts business I'm talking about. You can find it vehicle dealerships and all, you can find it, but in spare part business, there are very few who are wanted to start off this business as a new business. And the market is, as the market size is growing, all these parameters are important to meet the our challenges to meet the sales for the next 3 years or 4 years. And now COVID definitely, this is not going to stay long. COVID is, it's a temporary, and it's, we can see the change happen in July. The sales is getting back on the track. But still, in this difficult time, I purely believe that we should take care of our employees. We should go some extra mile to give them incentive, because in aftermarket, this is a message to all my distributor fraternity that they should take care of, because there are very few people left in our industry. Quality people are left in our industry, so we should take care of them. We should incentivize them. We should make them. We should retain them. So when the things will come back to normal, they are with us always. And introduce work from home employees. These all things are, there are a lot of technology available. Even if we are adopting a lot of, there are a lot of apps available where we can track our employees working from home, and still they can continue the business, and it's happening also. Most of the employees are not being able to travel, but we have our technology, we have our systems at place where they are working from home, they are contacting their customers from home. But it's not long time, because in automobile, we have to go to the market. We have to be on the floor. If we want to successful, we have to be on the floor. So this is only temporary phase of the market, which will change, which we can see that change already started. And post-COVID, definitely the market is going to increase as people are now used to personal transportation. If we see that personal transportation is increasing day by day, and people are now used to it, even after the COVID also, if the public transportation system resumes, it will not improve, it will only resume. So definitely people will used to go into their personal transportation only. So there will be increase in aftermarket sales if the personal transportation is increasing, and which is resulting now also. If you ask me, from last 3 months, what we can say is that there is no, in aftermarket, there's a drop in sales, not drastically what we had seen in the vehicle sales, but spare part sale has not fallen that drastically. So because the personal mobility has been increased, people who are having 1 or 2, 3 two-wheelers, they are now using, all the two-wheelers are on the road. They are using the two-wheelers. Everybody is going by their own vehicle. And the market is also shifting from urban to rural. This has to be identified. This is more important. I think so. This point is missing in our industry, in our automobile aftermarket industry. People are not realizing that rural market, all the old vehicles, since the spending capacity in the rural market is lower, all the old vehicles, second-hand vehicle, after 3 years, 4 years, the vehicle is moving to rural market. In that case, the spare part demands are going to be more on rural market than urban market, which we can really look into it. And these are the other challenges, business challenges, which we face. Our operations, if you see in automobile or aftermarket industry, it is very complicated, and it is very, there's a lot of transaction in spare parts industry. The first important thing is that we have a lot of SKUs we are dealing with. If you ask me, in my company, I'm dealing with more than 30,000 SKUs in put together in two-wheeler and four-wheeler. 30,000 SKUs, how you are going to handle it? You should have a proper operations. You should have proper software. You should have proper technology to handle it. You should not run. You should know your stock should be always. You should good stock. As we say that when we call it NPA in automobile market, what we call NPA is bad stock and bad debts. So if your stocks are not good, if your stocks are not selling stocks, if you have too many stocks which is not moving, then that is going to kill your capital, that is going to eroding your capital. So if you have to be organized, here the problem is that in our business, people are unorganized. They have to organize themselves too, and their operations are very fragmented. Here, it is very important. All my distributor fraternity, I want to tell them that they should know what is their stock. Because of the total stock, what is their non-moving stock, how much percentage it is. And they should keep correction. They should keep track of the market, which vehicle is there in the market, which part is moving, which part is not moving, which part they want to buy. Unless until they don't have a proper system, proper operations, they cannot do that. So which leads to the higher cost, dissatisfaction among customers also. And this is the result that why when we are not doing it, because we are not going to invest in technology, we are not investing in warehousing, where people are thinking very conservatively, because they are not looking at the long-term planning, which will improve their operational efficiency. They just want to see that. Now, if you look at it, how many our distributors are using cloud software, or they are using some. There are a lot of software which has come where you can track your travel plans. It's very less, because when I interact with people, still they are working very conventionally. Looking forward, the business is going from 75,000 crore to 1 lakh crore. What changes they want to take themselves? It's really challenging. So my message is very clear, that you have to invest in technology, you have to invest in good warehousing. Then only you can go forward. You can think of today. There are distributors. We can see those in two-wheeler. I had my colleagues who are having 200, 300 crore turnover. But afterwards, what? Whether we want to stop there or further, the market is growing. So whether we want to move ahead, so how we have to move ahead. So it's important to invest in technology and logistics also. Now it is important that we have to go closer to the customer. We are not going closer to the customers. We are not giving delivery in our whole system. The problem is we are not ready to give service to the customers. We just want them to come and buy from our shop. No, it will not happen in future. You have to go to them. You have to service them. You have to give them material in time. Most of them are going to work on just in time. Their stocks are going to be just in time. So how fast you can deliver them? So you should have your own logistics, or you should have arranged logistics to give your supplies in time, and which will also reduce your transit damage, theft. Everything is there. So in distribution, it is important. A proper distribution needs logistics. Either you have your own logistic or you arrange it. That will improve your sales. This is my experience. When I look at my total, we as a company, every branch we are having 3 to 4 vehicles for local deliveries. And most important thing, retailers. Now I talked about the wholesalers. Now we are talking about the retailers. Retailers, they also to understand one point. There is a paradigm shift happening where mechanics are converting themselves into one-stop shop for parts and servicing and act accordingly. They are most of the good service centers, good mechanics. They are now becoming shop owners. They are started stocking parts and they are giving service. So that means it's a captive consumption for them. Always captive consumption give you very good profit. This also the retailers need to understand. I don't think so any retailer is present here, but it is important. This message has go to the retailers. Either they should shift, they should also start some sort of service stations, or they should also start servicing vehicle. Tomorrow, it is going to happen. This change will definitely going to happen. And basically, for the now next point is I'm talking about our workshops. In workshops, what we understand in when you go to why we don't want to give a vehicle to a private workshop owner. As a vehicle owner, I don't want to give. Why I don't want to give? Because the vehicle or the private workshop owners, they are not getting proper updated informations about the vehicle, interchangeable parts, safety, servicing, all those things. They are not getting training. And it is our responsibility. If we want to keep this aftermarket further alive, we have to train, because as Ramashankar had said that after OEM, the vehicle comes to aftermarket. So when the vehicle is coming to aftermarket, are we going to give them a better service to them? How we are going to give better service to them? How we are going to satisfy the customer, satisfy the consumer? You cannot satisfy the consumer. The PWO, some sort of platform should be there where the PWO should be given proper information. They should be given training about the parts, about the servicing. And now the end consumer also, it is important as we are talking about, I'll talk about the other slide, as we are talking about digitalization. How many end consumers know about what part they want to buy? Most of them, because even the mechanics, now these two lines are related. When the mechanic doesn't know what part he has to order, because whenever he want to buy a part, either he don't know the name or he don't know the part number. He carry that part to the retail outlet to buy, and I want to buy the similar part. This is a practical thing. So how the end user will, end consumer will know about what part he want to buy. So all this knowledge, all this, everything is, everything is integrated. If you see that, right from the distributor to retailer to the consumer to the mechanic, where we should have a platform where we can give them training, where we can give them virtual training, where we have a database where they can look into the parts, where which part is required. And automotive parts online platform, this we are talking from last so many years, that we want to make our business. E-commerce is going to be the next course of business, but it has to go a long way. In my opinion, it has to go a very long way. It is not very easy that the e-commerce business will grow very fast unless and until we have to have change. We have to bring a lot of change in the system. First of all, we have to understand that whenever a part is ordered, I was actually talking to Mr. Alexander, how fast the part we can deliver to our customer, because you are going to take your vehicle to the mechanic when your car need repair. And at the time of repair, you don't know which part you want to buy. When you want to buy that part, are you willing to wait for 24 hours or 48 hours to get the part by online, or you buy immediately from the nearest part shop? So again, to become e-commerce successful, we should have more of the retailers, distributors should come into that platform. And again, when that coming into the platform, how we are going to educate the retailers about the parts? The retailers doesn't know the part numbers still. They are using the local languages. If you go to Chennai, if you want to buy a part, the slang will be different from Delhi. Delhi, they use the local languages for a part. In Delhi, in Chennai, or in another Bombay, they use the same part is being used in different languages. So how we are going to educate the retail customers? How we are going to educate the mechanics? Where there is a platform to educate them. Unless until we are not doing that, how we'll be able to make consumers buy what they want to buy? Unlike if you see that in Amazon, you go order anything you want to order in Amazon, because you know that item, you know that what you want to buy. Here you don't know what you want to buy, because there are a lot of interchangeable parts happening from one vehicle to after 2 years, the model changes, the cosmetic changes will happen, internal some changes will happen, some parts get replaced. In that circumstances, the mechanic doesn't know what part he want to buy. Usually the mechanics open up the vehicle, they take the part to the retailer, and the retailer check the part and he'll give the part to the mechanic. Mechanic or customers doesn't know about the part numbers, about the items, what they want to buy. So this is very important. So we have to provide e-catalog in the portal. How many consumers, like when we are selling the vehicle, in my opinion, every customer should get an e-catalog, or there should be a platform where he can get that e-catalog. He can be sure that what part he want to buy. He can place that part by number, part number, and that part can reach. In that circumstances, then we can have that online business, e-commerce business will develop. Otherwise, what I'm saying is that from last 2-3 years, a lot of companies are trying to come into e-commerce business, but there are a lot of problems, a lot of constraints are there. So it has to be we have to keep this exercise, we have to keep improving if we want to go into e-commerce business. And e-commerce business is not going to affect the retailers. Somebody asked me if e-commerce business is going to develop, whether it is going to affect the retailers or it is going to affect the sales of the retailers or distributors. I said, no, not at all. Because still the market size is very big and all the parts may not be buy through e-commerce. There may be some change. For example, if you want to buy oil, it is very easy. If you want to buy helmet, it is very easy to buy. Some cosmetic parts or some parts you want to buy online. But to the consumer or the mechanic, if he want to buy any part online, he should be aware of that part. He should be aware of the vehicle. He should be aware of that. He should have that data with him. Unless and until, it will be very difficult.
I think that we will take a little later also with Alexander on the online. Very nice. Carry on.
Yeah. So this is one area. So basically, what I want to give a message to all my distributors is that it is the need of hour to change. If we are not changing, if we are not improving, if we are not going one step ahead in our distribution system, then the whole, then they'll not be able to survive. If you see that how many distributors, how many big houses, how many automobile parts business, big houses had closed down because they are not willing to change. And this business, another 10 years, this business is going to flourish. They have to understand that. And parts business is one of the, as I earlier told you, it is one of the best business I had come across all these years. Otherwise, we could not have grown. The change is inevitable. We have to keep changing ourselves. We have to find ways to change ourselves. And in different demographies, if you see that, like what I said, in Delhi, how you want to operate, the operations are same, but you want to see that local problems, whatever you're facing, you have to face it and you have to change your total pattern of the business.
Great. So nice of you, Manishi. Yeah? This is really very grassroots, details. Aftermarket looks to be a dry subject, but when you come and do work here, you'll understand how exciting it is. So,
actually, nobody has given a thought process on that what are the challenges down the line. When we are working down the line, when you go and meet the retailer, what is the data available with us to educate the retailer? As we are here to improve the entire aftermarket business. So how we are worked now from the bottom now. Now we are working from the top. Now you have to work from the bottom. We have to understand right from the mechanic, where can he collect the data? Now everyone is digitalizing. I'm very surprised in Kerala, most of the mechanics have laptop. They are having iPad with them. And now, because of this new education policy which has come in, now every house got an iPad now. So yes, they are used to that. So that is also now our Prime Minister's dream to become digitalization. I think so COVID is going to help to make it digitalization now.
Yeah,
otherwise,
that definitely helped us out. Manishji, that definitely digital outreach post-COVID is like, I will say the chief digital officer is COVID, who made the world digital.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot, Manishji. It's really great to receive the, bottom-up, details. I will never forget, when I started my career in aftermarket, I'm a person who started like a field representative. I'm lucky in Bosch because it was my Bhagalpur territory. I was working with distributor. And we used to go from the bus stand, I still remember the last seat, and going to every nook and corner because the company has dumped the distributor. So the distributor had more material, and my first duty on the first day of job was, ye maal distributor ko accept karwa do. And the distributor said, nothing doing, I'm not going to take it, and he threw the invoice on my face. My first day, I'm under training. But who saved me is the guy, the real guy, the representative of that place, the sales guy. He came to me till, Mr. Pandey, don't worry. Pandey ji, aap chinta mat karo, chalte hain saath mein, kuch to kar lenge. And then we went from one market to another. Dharamsala mein rukna, 50 rupees ka hotel. I remember this is 98, 99. But by the time the 3 days tour, पूरा invoice हम लोग बेच के उस distributor के पास आए. बोले देखो साहब आपका सारा माल बिक गया, आप तो ट्रक उतार लो.
Now the things have changed, Ramashankar. Now things have changed. Now there is no dumping. Actually, it is all on the supply chain, and things are also changing. Those days, definitely, as you said, in 1998. उस समय माल पूरा एक ही को जो है डंप कर दिया, फिर वहां से बेचो. Rightly you said all these things we had done. I'm telling that I came from, when I started the business, I came from grassroots level. I had even gone to the market for collection, payments. I'd done everything in my business. This business में जो काम होता है जो है, पैकिंग से लेके जो है हम what all happens in distribution, I had done each and every job, right from billing to everything. Last 20-25 years I'm not doing this, but I'm basically doing only planning, opening our more branches. See, we are having around 48 branches and we are handling it with our managers. It's not that still this business is running in a proprietary form, you know. People work in a single it's a single man show. They are not coming out of that concept. You see, if today you ask me to come for a world tour for 2 months, I'm ready. My business will run. I know that.
Congratulations, lucky you. Your wife will be very happy with you.
It happens. I carry only one laptop with me. That's sufficient. Because how many distribution houses are there to do that? If you see a lot of distribution.
This is why you are here to motivate everybody. This is why you are here to motivate that more people should actually give it to professionals who will run the company and it will become a large company. So what we will do now is, Manishji, we will take some question in the panel discussion. And now we'll take some workshop perspective. But before that, Niladriji, remove the screen. Are you ready with the poll? We will take a small poll now on COVID, and which is more about how do you see all the participants, you know, the 200 participants here, not on the YouTube, but here you can actually poll it. So are you ready with the poll? Because change is inevitable, but हम तब बदलते हैं जब हमारे साथ बिल्कुल last हो जाता है. You know, this picture, I'm really, when I first time we conceived, because of physical distancing, imagine before Corona, अगर ये जाके retailer को gift करता, तो retailer क्या बोलता? मुझे आप जेल में बंद करना चाहते हो? Right? But today, it's a valuable thing for him, right? Physical distancing. And you know, when my marketing guy came up with this idea, I said, oh, that's a fantastic idea. But I'm just thinking that at a time when this was not needed, this was like a jail. Similarly, what Manish ji is telling, that agar hame change ko dekhte hue, if we don't change ourselves, right, we will be so-called pappu, you know. This is what Manish is trying to tell, that हम मेहनत करते रहें और अपने लिए समय ना निकले. We are all working hard, but if you don't professionalize the business, that's why we have to organize, standardize, and digitize. Now, post-COVID, what is the sentiment to come back? Are we going to come back in 2 years, 5 years? We have to find a way, right? So, if the poll is ready, they will just share you. Maybe you can give us a hint. Yeah, poll is ready. So if you all can poll this, panelists may not be allowed to vote it. So you can just watch what the public does, how quickly aftermarket business will come back to its last year level. Is it 1 to 2 years? Is going to be quick? Like Mr. Manish is telling that, yes, aftermarket is coming back. Or is it 2 to 3 years, maybe average, midway, or 3 to 4, or it is more than 5 years? How do you see this? Huh? So let everybody poll. I think most of the people have polled, and we will see the result also. What percentage have been polled? I think everybody polled now. So let's see the result. Wow, such a positive sentiment. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. I think we all needed this positive sentiment. With that positivity, I come to the busiest man in this room, Mr. Vikrant Mohan, National President of IWA, because this is where the activity is. This is where the consumption is happening, is in the workshop in the garage. Over to you, Mr. Vikrant.
Hi, namaskar. It's a pleasure to be here. And thank you so much, Mr. Kaushik. You have really given us a lot of inputs on your study. And I was looking forward to looking such kind of slides. And also I would look forward to receiving more slides on this in more detail. I was really very excited to go through those slides. You have really very precisely gone through it, studied very well, of course, no doubt about that. And a lot of points can be added on that. Of course, the time will tell. You will really understand, because now we are slowly coming to the mainstream working system in the workshops. Thank you so much. Guptaji has spoken very nice and in a very elaborated manner about the mechanics. I think he has used mechanic word more and more time than calling it a workshop. Yes, workshops are independent garages are turning into digitalization. They have started the process long back. As you very rightly pointed out, as long as the last generation is there, it is taking a very strong step for them to digitalize. But when the new generation is coming in, so digitalization and beyond has happened. The workshop today has started learning to earn through everyday challenges and pains. When we started, the fear was very high. We were really shaken up. There were some workshops owners who were frightened to open their workshops. Such level of fear was in us. But as we opened up, as we started working it, we thought that the opening would be very bad, but the opening was quite normal. Not very high, but all right. It was not that bad. It started very well in May. June was also quite encouraging, but again the July came. And there we saw a huge dip in the month of July. Disinfect has become a norm in a workshop. It has come into an automatic mode. The moment you see a customer, you also see disinfect happening in the vehicle. When you speak to him while making a job card, taking the key of the car, going for the trial, every location has adopted different methods to take preventions and precautions. Really happening. Perhaps Gupta ji need to go to certain workshops, and Tamil Nadu and Kerala, I will tell you, Tamil Nadu, Kerala are those two states, southern states, which are very particular, very careful. They are highly read people in mechanism. They go through it. They exchange a lot of experiences amongst them. I'm talking about Kerala. I'm talking about Tamil Nadu. I've been to these two states extensively. We have lot many members coming from there, and they give us a lot of very good feedback about things happening there. They're very happy. They're really doing very great job. They are being self-motivated, and they also try to spread this particular word among all the general people. The mindset of keeping this self-disinfectant is more, we find more in the youngsters and in the older generations. When coming to the central part of the generation, we find them to be not so welcoming it when we talk about disinfecting. When the vehicle comes, "Arey kya karna hai, chhod dijiye, main to naha dho ke aaya hoon, everything is fine." But at the same time, when a youngster comes, he is very particular. He wants his vehicle to be looked and carefully taken up. So this is again, there's a generation gap where how the people are taking care of it, how they would like to their vehicles to be accepted, repaired, and also at the time of delivering it. Many customers, there are places in India where customer refuses to get his vehicle sanitized. They say, I don't care. I'm not going to pay for it. If you wish to sanitize my car, you do it, but don't bill me. There are certain customers who say, no, first you sanitize and then take my car. So there is, every location has a different attitude of people, different viewpoints. And these are the challenges we have coming up. We need to talk to the customer, convince him, okay, we'll not charge for you, but we need to disinfect. We need to sanitize your vehicle. There have been some cases where the customer has said, after sanitizing of the vehicle, my stereo system has stopped working. Now, what does it has any connection with it? It has no connection. But since he has not used stereo system for a long time, there must be some defect in it. But anyway, whatever may be the story behind, I'm just trying to share the viewpoint of the vehicle owners we have in our country at different locations. Spare parts, especially I'm talking about the batteries, I'm talking about the tires. These are a very essential commodity we required post-lockdown and even today. Unfortunately, the tires, the batteries are still in heavy scarce throughout the country. There is a huge demand. but the supplies are not meeting it. It's not at par with the supplies. Likewise, there is a delay happening in terms of taking insurance claims. Everyone is working from home. Now, if someone is, even the surveyor starts working from home, it becomes very difficult for the workshop owner to give a proper judgment of the damage in the car, because on the photographs, everything is not readable. They need to arrive to the location, have a look at the vehicle and do a proper evaluation. Like this, we have several challenges coming every day in and day out. But somehow we are managing it by maintaining physical distances, by sanitizing ourselves, our workshop, and the vehicle that we have, the spare parts that we get. Everything has been taken care to the maximum level. But there are certain things which are stopping to take more work. In spite of the fact that we can do it, we don't come under that particular category where we need about 33% of the staff only to attend the work, or only to do the job. We have certain jobs are really coming up. We are not that bad. Luckily, our industry is not that bad that we are facing a very tough time. We did face tough times. There are still some tough times happening, but we are not that tough. We are still happy that whatever the business we are coming, we are really getting business. We are doing it. We are rolling. So these are certain aspects that I would wanted to share it with you. In the coming times, our workshop look forward to the faster delivery of the parts, quick insurance claims happening. Digitalization is there, and that is really helping us out. But all workshops are not digitalized. Around 57% of the automobiles on the Indian road is looked after by the independent workshops. We have a heavy load of work, but there are certain things that not is able us to go ahead at a little faster speed. So with all the panelists we are here, my simple request is that in your all respective areas, we need to buckle up. We need to make sure that what we are talking about, digitalization, standardization, and vagara vagara, we need to make sure that this happens in the ground. It starts happening. That most of the places still, even I am from Hyderabad, I am in a metro city. There are a lot many even in Delhi, lot many in Chennai. Very difficult to get certain parts which are otherwise used to be very freely available. This is where I leave now for the moderator to take.
Thanks, Vikrantji. Thank you so much. So yes, you are right. If you have to organize, standardize, and digitize, we need to do it at grassroots level, and that's why we need leadership. Before we move next, friends, we are already short of time. Time has already gone beyond what we wanted to close this. But one thing is also sure that Aftermarket is an exclusive community. We don't get that many webinars or seminars. So I will request everyone, if it is okay and if you permit, then we will extend this, to 30 minutes more, because I don't think that Aftermarket has a flood of webinars. So thanks everybody for that understanding. If you think the otherwise, you can put your remarks in chat. I will definitely take it. Respecting your time, I will extend it by 30 minutes. And then I will now bring another perspective. And as Vikrantji said, that every panelist here has a role to play. And that's where we need the leadership. On digitization, I'm so happy at ASDC, we launched Digital Masterclass with speaking. It was a massive hit. I don't know how many workshops did participate in this, but I remember from Hela, we did, circulate a lot of this this program, and it was really full. Everybody enjoyed that program. Now the idea is that how together we connect all the dots. Everybody is doing it in its own area. How do we connect it to make it really a strong, solid movement for Aftermarket? So now here we bring Mr. Alexander Danilenko, because he is managing director of Automotive, and he has been experiencing India from a very close perspective. You can see his smile, how comfortable he is with the Indian, possibilities of Aftermarket business. He has roughly 15 years of experience before turning to as an entrepreneur. He has been as a professional working with distributors in Eastern Europe. And then he has incorporated 2 companies which are involved in retail franchising, import and direct distribution, like what you see, Bodomo, online sales, realizing the potential of channel in developing markets, especially from the Indian perspective. And he co-founded Bodomo. For the last 5 years, he has been working and living in India with his family. So let's have his perspective on the e-retailing. Over to you. You have to unmute, Alexander.
Thank you very much for introduction. I'm really happy to be here. I'm a managing director of Budmo. It's actually e-commerce, the only one representative here. So I think it's a big step of recognition for e-commerce in India at all. So since our respective panelists said a lot of correct things, I will just focus on presenting online perspective and say that we see as a usual customers the e-commerce in such a way that you go online, you buy something and you get it. But actually what happens behind this scene, it's usual distributorship. Somebody has to manufacture, keep the inventory, collect, pick up the product and dispatch. So what is different in e-commerce is exactly the communication channel, how we accept and treat the orders of customers. So I would like to represent online from the point of view of SWOT analysis. So I want to present the strengths of online channel. It's first of all, it's very stable. It relies only on the power of servers, and you don't need to keep your sales guys continuously online to serve the customers. So it also avoids the mistake of tired or uneducated salesman. So here comes the opportunity from this. So you can easily scale up your operations and you can grow quite fast. So you don't need again to train new representative to attract new customers. It's much more easy to introduce new products for the customer. Again, you just show this on the screen. Here come the most interesting things, its weaknesses. So since you don't have a close relationship with a customer, you cannot use this power to return your customers back, since it's the same way it happens for hundreds of years, right? You serve the customer over the counter, over the phone. Now it's the most popular channel, as from my understanding, it's WhatsApp. When you don't need to go to a retailer and show the part, you can send a picture of the part, but it still requires some people from other side. And in most cases, mechanics know this salesman who answered on WhatsApp. So this is not the case with online sales. And you have to try to keep your customer only by very good service. And of course, since the customers are placing order themselves, you have to rely on their skills. And we talked today already about this. So mechanics and also end customers, they are not so proficient. They don't know which part exactly to order. So this is a huge limit for online sales as of now. So what are the threats for online channel? I see 2 major threats. It's regulations. For example, right before the removing the lockdown for e-commerce, the trade union of retailers put a claim, and government decided not to allow e-commerce to work for non-essential items till the retailers will be open. It's just one of the cases. Or for example, online sales are taxed additionally. So another threat is competition, which is just in future. Again, right now, a lot of people start talking about competition going online, but still there are a lot of plenty space here. So competition is actually looks like a threat only from the big players on the market, like big corporations, which can just use a lot of capital leverage. So the next slide, it's our current challenges, which I would call more like current status. I will take a look from two perspectives, technology and knowledge. So it's a continuation of the thread. So supply chain owns the technology only on the top. I mean, manufacturers have a lot of investment, right, to keep all their processes in a digital way. They push down into distributors through some distributor management systems provided, and but when we come down to the retailer or mechanic level, the technology is not available from the sales point of view. So it means small guys can only just join another players or join their efforts to go online. It's will be just expense. It will be not investment from their side. If you open some website, it will be not enough. So from the customer point of view, technology is already available. You need just have a phone in your hand, and all mechanics and drivers in India have this phone, iPads, or even access to the computer. So it's absolutely green zone, and customers are ready for online. So here comes the most important issue and challenge. It's a knowledge part. Manufacturers obviously own this information. They produce some product, right? And they have to pass this information down the line to be able to sell this item. But when we come to, again, the last chain, it's when the seller, retailer, or mechanic communicate with their customers. It's just happens in WhatsApp in different languages without knowing part number. So what may happen or help here is exactly creation of catalog, which will be shared by everybody and will allow the mechanics and customers place a very precise order online. Without this, it's very big challenge. The problem here that manufacturers itself, even aftermarket manufacturers, they see this information some kind of assets, and they try to protect it for some or other reason. They need to change their mindset and like embrace this new reality. So what we can talk about knowledge from mechanics and customer side, they don't have enough information. Definitely a lot of room to work here. It's not enough even to share the original electronic part catalog. For example, mechanic, in order to service different cars, he needs to have access to this EPC, and each EPC has its own structure, which is quite uncomfortable. They need to spend some time to learn, and this is a rocket science for many customers as well. So what we can do here, we can simplify the catalogs and use technology. For example, to use robotic chats, sophisticated smart searches, when the robot can guess the intent at par with the person, real salesman, what is expected, and give some suggestions to the customer. This is where we see huge potential. And coming to our current reality, so how COVID influenced the online channel. So actually, we see the COVID as just acceleration, right, of current trends. So global trends are, of course, seller comes closer to the customer. Since Henry Ford, right, there are much more colors and models on the streets, and it creates a lot of new aftermarket brands, a lot of new part numbers which we have to handle somehow, and which becomes quite complicated without proper technology. So the next very interesting step, coming to the catalogs again, information loses power is unique sales point. You cannot keep the information a secret one, since this all the trend of internet and connectivity around, it's about sharing the information. The secret here, how you will use this information, how you will leverage, what is your skill, not the pure like book which you can keep in your pocket. It's where the mechanics need to know what to do. not just to have the catalog itself. Catalog itself will not help them to serve the customer properly. So another global trend which comes to the online, since we have a lot of SKUs and transactions here, it's use of big data and machine learning to digest these big volumes of data. For example, again, machine learning to understand the intent of the customer, what they want when they type something in the chat. Of course, so we are talking about global trend in connectivity and convergence. And COVID impact is shows us that when the supply is weak due to raw supply problem, trucks were stopped, human resources were not available, they're sitting at home, and customers itself were sitting at home. And what they could do using old channels, they can call, but retailer was not available at all, also at home, or he didn't get new supply. What the customer will do, he will try to dial another number of retailer, maybe, but he has to go online to find this phone number, for example, right? Or even give a chance, a try to find something online. And it all leads to the fact that e-commerce is growing. And we are inviting everybody to join this trend. That's all I wanted to say.
Wow, thanks a lot. So I think it's now more or less in aftermarket. This is not an external point of view. You are part of the core aftermarket. What I will consider is still a little bit away is the insurance sector. And this is where I will definitely now bring. We can stop the screen sharing so that Mr. Saurabh Mani, who is the Senior Vice President for the Tata AIG, is currently managing the strategic partnership and distribution for Tata AIG General Insurance Company. He has a wide experience in non-life insurance with a career spanning 15 years. He has anchored some of the leading OEM auto insurance programs and has played a role in expanding the distribution footprint of motor insurance through dealerships, especially to increase insurance penetration for his company in India. As part of the strategy team at some of the leading insurance companies, he has been instrumental in introducing products across personal lines to provide seamless risk solutions for customers, building robust distribution networks and anchored business process reengineering to redefine customer experience or consumer delight. Let's have his experience on insurance, which is the integral part of the automotive aftermarket. So I think online is more or less in discussion every day now. We are having a new perspective from the insurance, and from today onwards, we are going to have that also at the same level like online. So over to you, Saurabhji. So we have certain challenges with the network. He's coming in. Yeah, we can see his screen.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ramprasad. So, good evening, everyone. I think it's a big learning experience, for us to be part of this panel and, present our thoughts. I think very, very interesting views that came across. So I'll, over the next 10 minutes, quickly, run through the insurer's perspective on some of those. So I thought it's better to start with a theme where we say we look at it from a very, very fresh set of eyes. All of us come with various understandings of facets of business beyond. I think it'd be very, very critical that we look at it from a very different set of eyes, because aftermarket now is, and the other panelists have spoken about it, over the last 1 hour, I think is a much more integrated journey that we really believe in. So where does insurance fit in, right? We spoke about the fact that car penetration or vehicle penetration in India is going up, and where is it expanding? It's not expanding in metros as much. It's going to Cat B towns, the rural segment. So both ownership is increasing, and the distribution and where the service requirement is, that's really expanding in terms of the geographic footprint. Now, insurance essentially is a very, very critical component of aftermarket because one, in Indian context, to a certain limit, because liability insurance is mandatory, the penetration tends to be higher. But just to give you all a perspective, motor insurance approximately in India is a 70,000 crore premium market. So that's roughly the numbers for financial year 1920 for the industry, out of which 26,000 crores approximately is the premium that we take for what we call as own damage, the protection of the vehicle itself. This could be cars, commercial vehicles, two-wheelers, and so on and so forth. I think the number which will be very relevant for the forum here is that as an insurance industry, while this number is a little triangle, it would not be an exact number, but approximately anywhere between 23 to 24,000 crores is what the insurance industry would have paid out as losses just on own damage. I'm limiting myself to discussions around vehicles and parts to give you a perspective that we are very, very critical component of the aftermarket, and it's very. I think it's a big experience for us to start to today's discussion and see how can we play a larger role in the ecosystem. It's going to increase. The penetration rates in India on cars, while are healthy at around 90%. If you look at two-wheelers and commercial vehicles, the insurance penetration is still way low. So a lot of spends in terms of accidental repairs happen by the owner itself, and insurance penetration in turn would increase to support those expenses. But I think more importantly, again, from the forum that we have, I think what makes relevance for you would be that the moment it becomes insured, it also starts organizing the market. Vikrantji spoke about efficiencies required in insurance, which will always be there, like any other industry. But I think what's pertinent still is that it organizes it and brings it down to few players who are able to then provide much more organized structure around it. From our perspective, quickly moving on, I think this has been a topic which has been discussed within the insurance circles in a big wave over the last 5 years. How we traditionally see the movement happening is that a customer at the time of need really sees the workshop or the repair network as the expert and tends to reach out to it, and that's where the whole claims process or the repair process starts, right from an estimate and the whole discussion. From an insurer's point of view, to really add value, I think there have been various initiatives taken on how do we build experiences around three pillars, right? One, to provide customer the assurance of a quality and an effective repair. Second, to build a positive connect with the customer, because we are really incurring those kind of losses, which is real and actual money that's or benefit that's going to customer at the time of need. And I think importantly, everybody before me has also spoken about how do you really build it sustainably as a capability for the industry, where again this becomes very relevant. If you look at today, while I'll not speak as much about where the traffic is going, but I thought it'd be very pertinent to again bring in an aspect of a study done by one of the big four consultants in the country, is around what's the perception around where the customers are going, right? If you look at the dotted blue line in the middle, that's basically a set of the parameters of look and feel, products availability, pricing, customer convenience, and quality of service. What you see, the dotted line, is what are OEM or OES authorized centers, right? These are what are dealer shops or dealer service facilities which are run under authorizations by the manufacturer. What we see here essentially is that the presence and the impact of an organized entity to bring in and look at all the aspects from a customer lens and bring a homogeneity of experience across. Uh, as a large player which experiences these transactions every day from an insurance industry point of view, the perspective that we see around standalone workshops, the multi-program workshops, tends to vary across parameters. If we look at the crux of this entire slide, it comes down to two or three components. From a customer proximity, convenience, and price point of view, the independent workshops, the independent networks offer a way higher value than an OEM network does. But where it takes over is in terms of the quality of service and the consistency that they deliver over a period of time, right? And today, when we look at it from a customer need lens, see, a customer eventually is not looking at spare parts. It's not looking at accessories. He's not looking at a garage. He's not looking at insurance. A customer essentially is saying that if I run a car and if something goes wrong, what happens? I drive a car or I own a vehicle. If an accident happens, what happens? A customer is looking at a solution where we are able to indemnify and protect them from that need. And I think it's very pertinent in the format that's been discussed today and anchored by ACMA, is to bring in all the stakeholders together and say that, is there a possibility to bring all of these levers together to make a much stronger and independent proposition, for the customers? And that's where the entire demand and the entire supply chain will start, coming together. Again, from our perspective, I'll not focus on the top end of the slide. I think there's been a lot spoken about, cataloging, SKU coverage, and minimum order quantities. But I think what I would want to place on the table, for the forum to consider and for all of us to mull over, is the fact that, and I'm just picking an interesting number that Vikrantji said, right? 57% of vehicles actually getting serviced by independent networks. Demand is not a constraint. The constraint is there is no organized supply, and there is no quality repair network which is available, which is able to win over a customer confidence over a larger containment area. Two, which is over to do it over a consistent period of time. It's dependent too much on a particular mechanic, a particular kind of model of cars, a particular set of part availability, and so on and so forth. So I think it would be interesting for us to evaluate on how do we really bring that ecosystem together, right? It's happening. I think early on, Kaushik did speak about what digitization is doing. I think I'll just extend that model from a very different lens. This is not about digitization of process. It's about how what essentially an Uber did to a mobility industry. You had a digital, you had somebody coming up with an idea, putting together an existing infrastructure. And essentially, if you look at it, one way to position that proposition is that you set up minimum service quality standards. So I come, I've been operating out of Bombay for a long time. If I take that as an example, Kali Pili taxis, they're like most dependable version. But the biggest problem is when you get in, it's a stinking car with, toned seats. The drivers are friendly, they'll talk very nice to you, they'll do everything for you. But you get into an experience which 9 out of 10 times you're not expecting. Look at our experiences with an Uber and Ola today. I think that's essentially what needs to happen to networks. There are some early experiments that are happening, but it happened in terms of Uber and Ola's to cars. It happened in terms of what Oyo did to hotels. They did not create inventory. There's an existing inventory to which they brought up minimum proposition. The perspective that I'm trying to bring in a nutshell is, how do we really get this ecosystem together to bring that minimum delivery quality standard to that? And you've got a whole industry that will kind of support that. So from way forward, from a general insurance or an auto insurance lens, I think continues to be fairly simple. There is a demand which is available. What's required is to be able to bring in quality low cost repairs. That's essentially what a customer is focusing on. I think in our experience, and I'm very happy to hear that today across forums from various panelists, I think each one of us is trying to build the most efficient business model for ourselves. I think what really we need to do, under the aegis of ACMA, Mr. Prasad, if I might say that, is to really collaborate and focus on the customer need. I think what needs to get stitched together is a much more inclusive solution, which brings and creates an ecosystem where we are able to offer customer a far bigger choice. And like I said, it's not just an opportunity. I think it's also fast becoming a need because of two parameters that I spoke about earlier. One, in terms of speed at which the vehicle ownership is increasing in India. Touch wood, while the world is grappling with growth, growth's been fairly positive in India over the last 5 years, and the projections look very healthy. Look at COVID. While you still will not get very founded projections for next 5 years, but I think response from all of you has been fairly positive. If you look at some of the vehicle sales numbers or some of the basic economic indicators that we're looking at, things are looking very, very positive. We've had a good crop season go by. We've, touch wood, had a fairly good monsoon till now. The rural demand is right up in the country. So I would strongly like to believe that India is going to emerge much stronger, irrespective of the current pandemic in the coming years. And I think it's very pertinent with the consumer demand being high and the consumer geographic presence expanding. Again, I think Manishji spoke about it earlier. A lot of infrastructure investment was done in the top cities. Today, the biggest movement, if you look at any of the patterns in studies, right, in terms of sales of vehicles, sales of FMCG goods, e-commerce orders, a lot of that is cropping out of the smaller towns and cities, and that's where the real India is. That's where the Bharat is. So, I think a much more inclusive approach is what we support and propagate, and I think you would find insurers across the board, completely onto it, because it creates a value network where we can genuinely show value, to the customer. And like Mr. Prasad said earlier, bring down the overall cost of ownership. I think nothing better than that for the country. So I think that's a very quick, glimpse from our end. Rather than saying thank you, I would just put a follow through. I think these discussions, like I said, I think are just a beginning of a much larger ecosystem, and if we can all put it together, uh, opportunities for everybody across the value chain are immense. So thank you all. Thank you so much.
Great, Saurabh, so much. It's very clear that the underlying theme, because we have less time, let's try to conclude. The underlying theme, of course, is collaboration. Now, when we collaborate, generally there are two kinds of collaboration. We ask everybody to do the job, and I am a seeker. I seek whatever I need, right? So do you think that way the platform can be made? We need to contribute. When we contribute, then only the value will be created for everybody to seek out of it. So, and this is where I think I'm appealing to every stakeholders, be it workshop, be it distribution, be it marketer, be it manufacturer. Our collaboration should be an approach where we are, sharing the pain and the gain. Otherwise, we are actually pulling each other towards our own highest efficiency of that segment. Rather, we have to come together and then harness the market. So this is a very favorite slide of mine. I use it basically to remind everybody that ACMA is an association. ACMA doesn't have its own, it's in itself is not an industry. So different industry has to actually come up together. ACMA will be able to foster a very neutral platform where we are able to do the value capture for everybody fairly. This is possible fully. So my request will be that this different efficiency frontiers, what we have in different zones, to come together. There are a few questions which we can take before we close. One direct question comes to Vikrant, which is from 2-3 people, and they are telling that the new aggregator. So there is this old style of running a multi-brand car garage or car workshop, and you see Saurabh talking about there is a demand, but the supply of a good workshop does not exist. A good chain does not exist. Insurance companies are trying to collaborate with good workshop. So at one place we don't have enough done in terms of standardization from the owner's side, from the industry side. At the other side, you have the aggregators now who are coming and digitizing the whole value chain. They have thousands of garages on board, thousands of workshop on board. I don't know about the quality, about the training, and those aspects are not seen yet. How do you see, are they boon or bane for the industry? Do you think that it is going to help us to organize, standardize, and digitize, or is it a pain at this point of time? What is your opinion, Vikrant? You have to unmute, Vikrant. Yeah.
I to understand the pulse of the person asking this question, but at the same time, I also agree to the fact that every workshop cannot be counted at par with the company workshop. But there are workshops which are much better ahead than the company workshop, and they exist in every local stations. So don't consider a workshop to that low level that all are of that level. What we are trying to do is we are trying to bring up the workshop who is at a lower level to come to that particular standard with all the kind of digitalization, standardization as we are all talking about. The things time will take, and you will definitely find a workshop at par with OEM workshops. I'm sure the time is not far away, but it doesn't mean that we don't have any. We have many of them, many of them.
Okay, so let's take now examples like Go Mechanic, Pit Stop, many Carpathy. How do you see what should be your recommendation to, because there are a lot of workshop in the room. What is your recommendation for the workshop to collaborate with them? That is one. And second, maybe we'll ask Mr. Manish as a follow-up question. How do you see the retailers and workshop collaborating with Alexander? What will be your recommendation? Maybe Vikrant, you go first and complete the.
Sir, I would more emphasize on the collaboration rather than on the aggregators.
Okay. Okay.
Collaboration is the most strongest word which I would recommend myself. Unless we all collaborate to each other, I think that would be the finest point we can get. Now you talk about the digital, the virtual workshops, the workshops who don't exist in practical. We had many such workshops in the past. We have somewhere now in the present, and there are certain coming up in the future also, right? But their experience has been not that good at all the point. There are certain discrepancies which are not been able to solve. So there is some kind of there's a positivity, there's a negativity, and there's a mixed reaction on that.
Okay, so
we can't say that the workshop totally now going to depend on this virtual garage. No, it won't. It won't.
Okay. So there's a very clear answer from Vikrant. It is more about cautious approach as of now. How do you see, Manish, our offline distributors, dealers, retailers collaborating with Amazon, collaborating with TechDoc online or Vodomo online? What is your recommendation to them? Because you have been very clear about change, and they should change. So,
if we look at the industry, if you look at the retail industry, now we have to classify into B2B or B2C. When it comes to B2B, there are more chances for the e-commerce business. When it comes to B2C, the growth is going to be, unless and until, like Alexandra also had mentioned, that unless and until the information is not shared, when the consumers are not sure of what they want to buy, the retail B2C industry in e-commerce is going to go at a very slow pace. And as I said that, Vikrant has told one thing about the workshop. Now, I want to say the workshops are now becoming one-stop shop. They are now going to, you can see that change that's happening. In a lot of products, it's happening. The change is happening. And there's a huge gap. If you look at the PWOs or independent workshops to the OEM workshops, there's a huge gap in between, which is not yet filled. There's a big opportunity. If anybody is coming with a multi-branded organized workshop, he can have captive consumption. The profit is going to be in double. One, he is getting a labor charge. He's going to earn. He is going to earn in. There are a lot of ways, even there are a lot of ways. Even I had a project of doing it, wherein it's all dependent upon what software, how digitalization you are going to do it, to pick up, how you're going to service your vehicle, how you want to pick it up, 24-hour service. There are a lot of ways. There are a lot of things. As you said that, let us keep it something for the next our discussion also. Yeah. So there's one of the point which I want to bring it. I have a project report for that. And this, as you said, that digitalization is going to improve, but not at the phase for the B2C, what we are looking at. Unless and until there's no data, available in the, where they can go and search for the parts. What we have available, what data we are available, where anybody can go and buy independently. If I have some problem in let us think practically. You all have cars or scooters or bike. Suppose something gone wrong with my bike, and he said that you want to buy one regulator. What is that regulator? What is that regulator? What is the part number of that regulator? Where he can capture that? Where he can go online, order it. So there is a long way to go that ACMA has to play.
It's a long way to go. It's a long way to go.
Yeah, it's a very valid question, Manish. Coming to Alexander, what is your recommendation then that the question what Manish asked regarding where he will go? So how are you trying to solve it, and what is future, mid, long term? Will it be very slow pace like this, or you see a bright future in next 12 to 18 months for digital and consumer empowerment? Do you see, Alexander,
May
that,
I?
yeah, do you see that, yeah, I'm asking you, do you see that the consumer can be empowered from your side or any other e-player?
Yeah. So the growth of online channel depends on many factors. As we said, it's like openness of catalogs, so and knowledge of customers, even business customers like workshop, right? And the most important, this shift in paradigm from all the sides. And we see the growth is supported by more manufacturers already shared the information with us, more customers coming to our platform monthly, on weekly basis. We see the growth, especially after the COVID period of time, because we are completely contactless. And as I said, we just recently introduced the smart search, which try to understand what customer says in different languages and to provide the solution. So you need to order this one, and it works. So again, it's a long way to go, but this, let's say, future, we already like touching, we feel it right now.
Yeah. Do you also see sort of that the aftermarket channel can be also used by you as a, because till now I don't think that you have used them as a sales channel, like you are using the OEM channels. Do you see that there is a possibility that these, because they're very close to customers, customers are coming to aftermarket, you see two-wheeler penetration and you see the opposite, the two-wheeler aftermarket penetration is very high. So if these two can be matched together, wonders can be done. Do you think that you guys also are talking about it?
Completely, Ramadhe. I think, I see with the insurance penetration overall in the country being so low, every step in that direction is very, very important. And like I said, I think for insurers across, aftermarket is a very, very critical component. And the specific order, honestly, if I look at it, is distribution. Definitely yes, but that's second. The first primary bit is this is something which is much closer to the customer. And like I said, while customer might not understand parts separately or various components separately, what really works is that if you have a repair network which is far more, quality conscious and far more cost and effective, which it definitely is. And like Vikranji said, it's not that everything is one shade. There are enough examples of workshops which do bodywork jobs, which it definitely is. And it's not that everything is one shade. There are bodywork jobs, even better than so. But like I said, very specific consultancies. So insurers overall are very, very positive, and I think we would be willing to participate in various forums across, and various companies I'm aware are trying to do various things to augment this ecosystem, collaborate with various partners to create that capability. It really gels well for the customer.
Very good. So then we can look forward. Coming to Kaushik, you clearly saw the pace of change and the acceptability of change from the Vikrant side, from Manish side, the optimism what Alexander has, the problem and the challenges about consumer empowerment, information availability, transparency, how consumer can have a neutral interface to know the parts and then come and sort of really looking at engaging with the aftermarket. All of this coming together, how do you see the future for us? What should be our highest priority? Even for ACMA, it's overwhelming. Something has been not done for years, decades. And as aftermarket wing of ACMA, we need to prioritize ourselves. What do you see should be our path ahead?
So 2 points, Ramashankar, very good question. One, I go back to the point Vikranji mentioned, and one of the slides Alexander showed where there is a red box that says reluctance to share. Now that has to change. And thankfully, I hope TechDoc is the first step towards that direction, right? And you also mentioned a few days ago, I remember that there are just about a handful, 5 or 6 companies who have shared their data. That number has to increase. We need more and more people who are going to contribute to TechDoc and make part availability, that is reach, accessible to the masses. That's number one. The second point is, I know that you have mentioned in one of the question and answers that you will address it live, that somebody had asked, ACMA, should it just be a component manufacturer association? Not anymore. We need other stakeholders to also be a part of ACMA, like could be consultants or insurance companies, IP, intellectual property companies, law companies, a lot of other stakeholders. Everybody is relevant today. So ACMA's membership itself needs to be expanded to a wider set of stakeholders. That I believe is going to be an all-inclusive way. And just to add to what Vikrantji mentioned, collaboration is the only way forward. There is no other way out of it.
Very good. Thanks a lot, Kaushik. In fact, people may think that we have a match fix because both of the point what you said is very strongly on the agenda of ACMA. So I was not aware what you are going to speak, but maybe people think that we discussed it before. It's not true because Kaushik had just told us these two priorities. And let us also take, maybe Nadiji is open with the question, the last poll probably. Let audience also talk to us what should be our priority. But to tell you, TechDoc is on. Kaushik, the 5 companies has increased to 15 now. 15 are already on board, 5 more are coming. So TechDoc has really moved fast there. The data is ready and which will be able to help Amazon of the world, Vodomo, anybody for that matter, that we have at least something to begin with. Even for the insurance companies, that there's a common Indian catalog first time it's coming up. We are also in discussion with the GS organization, GS1, which is the barcoding standard in India, which is a semi-government body. They have come up with an app. So how consumer can see, what the question of Mr. Manish Gupta, consumer can go on Jago Grahak Jago and this kind of app. There is a consumer ministry logo there, and they can actually check by scanning any product. If there is a barcode, they will know what is the standard for the product. What is the type approval? What is the COP number of the product? Today also you can do. There is, in fact, I will share the number sometime in the group, that there is an app on which you can go and check with the barcode, all details come, even for a toothpaste or for a soap. So ACMA is trying to join that platform so that consumers know what it is, but there's a long way to go, long way to go, because automotive is a very tricky subject. And we also need a lot of information from OEMs, which is missing today. So the OEM's catalog has to be integrated with TechDoc, which is the biggest challenge for us. Somebody asked the question about SIAM and ACMA. To tell you, yes, SIAM and ACMA is working together. There's a committee has been formed called PERT, P-E-R-T. There we are trying to come together for the aftermarket betterment. How can we open up ourselves, including the diagnostic, the OBD port, which does not give all information, because they have the right doubt that the aftermarket has counterfeits and spurious and all those people, the security is a threat. So they are also not opening up fully. But when it comes to ACMA as a standard body, why not ACMA SIAM come together to reach there? So let's also take the sense of the house. Maybe you all can poll this. Niladiji, you can open this poll. So what should be on highest priority for us? Is it common catalog, which we just discussed? Bringing the legal standard for spare parts, education and training for the independent technician, or the last one is about consumer empowerment, which means consumer can demand that I can go to independent aftermarket, still my warranty is fine. I can take a lubricant from anywhere and go into the OEM garage and get it fitted. So whatever parts can go from here and there. So please vote and you say what according to you should be our highest priority, because we all have to see the timeline, which has to come first. Based on your popular demand, at ACMA, we will focus there. And then you can call us not only as a manufacturer organization, but also as an aftermarket organization. And the second point, till people are voting for it, Kaushik, for you, it is a good news. In the last EC meeting, we have just approved to have more open membership. So very soon you will see that the ACMA has opened up its arms to not only the manufacturers, but also startups, consultancy companies, distribution companies. So yes, we are changing. Of course, we could have changed in past, but it's begun now. So I only hope that is going to help us out. Good. So I think we have the voting done. Can we see the results? Niladiji, let's see. It's going to be very interesting. This is going, oh wow.
Oh wow.
So it's Vikrant ji, बहुत काम करना है, हाँ? Yeah, बहुत काम करना है. ASDC में, we have started with this training module now, and I have personally taken a pledge of 100,000 technicians to be trained. So whoever has voted, if you have any influence on technician, please give us as many candidates for this, because ASDC has really now a good bandwidth for this training. We are doing online with TCS Ion, and every setup is done. You just have to give name of the technician and we will certify them after their test. So then I will definitely take this as a first priority. Are you surprised, Kaushik, with the result?
Yeah, I am, because I expected the top two to be a little higher, but I'm happy to see, because I know Vikrant is very happy to see this. But it is definitely the need of the day. We need to bridge that gap between the OE authorized service center and the independent garage. That gap has to be bridged.
Wow. So now the standardization for parts has come. The new safety bill has got the inclusion. Now, the moment the training is done, we have standard parts, standard services, which makes us a very standard ecosystem. This will be lived on grassroots. So I must thank all of you for that. Now here I bring the hard work of Saurabh ji, who actually built the whole webinar together from the Western region, supported by Aswini Jyotsi. So over to you, Saurabh. I think the time was a constraint, and maybe the topic is so interesting for aftermarket. Next time we can keep a little bit longer, maybe a 2-hour session with little bit of panel in depth. This is a learning, but over to you, and thanks a lot for shaping up this webinar, Saurabh.
Ramashankar, as always, you are enterprising. Now, good evening, everyone. Mr. Kaushik Madhavan, Vice President Mobility and responsible for South Asia with Post Surveillance. Mr. Manish Gupta, Managing Director, Jagdamba Group of Companies. Mr. Vikrant Mohan, National President, All India Automobile Workshop Association. Mr. Alexander Danlenko, Managing Director, Budmo. Mr. Saurabh Mani, Senior Vice President, Bank Insurance and OEM Tata AIG. Mr. Ramashankar Pandey, Chairman of ACMA Aftermarket Committee, Governing Council Member at ASDC and Managing Director of HELA India Lighting. I have pleasant duty of proposing the vote of thanks to our special guest speakers who have been gracious enough to join us today. I would like to thank Kaushik Madhavan for setting the tone of the webinar. He really touched upon bringing in all stakeholders in digital platform, consolidating through value chain, on-demand service and after-sales connect, online marketplace, digital KPIs, and as rightly, I think the automobile mechanics should also be called doctors now. Mr. Manish Gupta mentioned about distributors operation overview need to change to meet the challenges faced by them to grow market from 75,000 crore to 1 lakh crore in 3 years. And as rightly said, the new generation has a big issue in every industry to join. So, but still they come back and join, some of them. So I think it would be overcome. Thank you very much for sharing valuable inputs. I would like to thank Mr. Vikrant Mohan, as he mentioned about workshop owners were shaken up before the opening of the workshops, but afterwards they adopted all the necessary COVID-related precaution and overcame the challenges. And it's very difficult, I know, to deal with the mindset of every different owners of the vehicles. I think there you are doing a big challenging job to convince the owners of the vehicle. Mr. Allrounder Danlaiko shared his view on logistics and said, online communication channel through the SWOT analysis and total focus for aftermarket on e-commerce. Thank you very much, Mr. Danlaiko. Mr. Saurabh Mani shared his view on insurance industry and said, the insurance seeing this with a new eye, and industry size is 69,000 crore, and on which the payout is 24,000 crore for the insurance companies. So disruption can create opportunities in this. Thank you very much, Mr. Saurabh Mani. Thank you all participants. I would like to thank my colleague, Mr. Ramashankar Pandey, for his support to organize this webinar. And I was overwhelmed to see 212 participants for today. A big thank you to Budmo, Jagdamba Auto Agencies and HELA India Lighting for their support as sponsors. Last but not the least, I would like to thank ACMA team to put up the good show. Thank you all.
Thanks a lot, Saurabh.
Thank you very much.
The whole team, what you said is really ACMA team in this tough time, what they are doing is great. How many webinars? And now since audience also asked for a commercial vehicle specific webinar, my promise to you and a task to Niladri, we need to do that. Because commercial vehicle is very different. And I think in audience, people were asking for it. Suniji is smiling. I know it's a hard work for you, but let's do it. I think they have a keen interest. It's a very significant portion because if you look at commercial vehicle segment, workshop is different, parts are different. We will definitely do. And for those who has been asking about access to TechDoc, everyone who is the first I think 5,000 or 6,000 subscription is free. ACMA has the power to give it free. So catch hold of anybody in ACMA. Whoever you know in ACMA, just give your name and you will get TechDoc subscription free. For the mechanics, for the retailer. And the right person is here, Monica. You can see her smiling. Yeah, Monica, whoever she supplies the name and the contact details to the TechDoc organization, they have given a free limit to ACMA. And we should use it. Right, Monica?
Definitely. Do remain in touch with me. I will be happy to share all the information that you want about TechDoc. And Mr. Ramashankar is a very important link. And any help you want regarding TechDoc, we are there.
Great. Saurabh, then every good thing has to end.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care. Be negative.
Bye-bye.
That's the most positive word today.
Yeah, exactly.
Saurabh, great job. The way
Bye-bye.
you interacted with the ACMA community, we have a long way to go. Thanks a lot, Saurabh.
Thank you. Stay safe, everyone. Yeah.
Right, Mr. Kaushik.
I was
Manish Gupta ji, namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, everyone.
Dhanyawad.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ramashankar ji, namaskar. Saurabh ji, thank you for your nice words.
Thank you, Mr. Mohan.
Bye-bye. I don't know who is anonymous in the question, but there was a lot of questions from somebody anonymous.
I know.
I'm very sure he is one great friend of one of us. I will Aftermarket is a very sweet industry.
Well,
Yeah,
you have lot very fast flowing in automobiles.
yeah, true. So see you again. Take
All
care.
right. Thank you, Niladri ji, for all your efforts, communication. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. We'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
बहुत अच्छा किया. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.